The secret to building wealth is your money making money. But how do you get there if you're starting from zero? My name is Darius.
And my name is Carmen. And we can totally relate to this topic because, as many of you know, you have seen our videos, we have had over 6 figures in just credit card debt that we eliminated. So we have done a ton of research, read everything, watched everything we possibly could, and we have what we consider is the secret sauce to building wealth. And they are 6 steps, or the Wealth Nation way, shall we? So let's go ahead and jump into those points so that you can understand how to start building wealth by the end of this video.
Now, the first thing that changed things for us, really changed the game for us, is when we organize our spending into savings, needs, and wants. And the purpose of this was to kind of see what our habits of spending was. And once we actually saw it on paper, we had to make a choice. Do we want to stop doing these things, or are there some things that we need to investigate as a way to make money in the future?
Well, wait, hold on a second, Darius. This sounds like a budget to me. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get organized. And if you want to call it a budget, if you want to call it a spending plan, whatever you want to call it, you got to get your ducks in a row. Okay.
You have to see it.
Yeah. And I don't know why it is, but for whatever reason, I find that, you know, when we talk to clients, when we talk to customers, there's just this intimidation around seeing my money and watching it and tracking it. And it's almost like maybe you're afraid to look in the mirror to see like what's happening and your spending and everything that's happening. But there is no way in the world, ladies and gentlemen, hear me out. If you find another way, you let me know. There is no way in the world you're going to build wealth if you don't understand your spending. So I know you probably looked at this video and said, ooh, I'm going to learn real quick. And we're telling you to go back to the starting line. You got to get back to the starting line so that you can get ready to run this race. Okay. And we have to organize. We have to get ready. So savings, needs, and wants. It's as simple as that, and putting your money or your income into different buckets so that you can understand how much it actually costs you to live. And once you understand these things, where we're going to get into it, but once you start to have a little bit more of an understanding of where your spending is going, that's when you can start making decisions on, you know, pulling different levers in different ways to start creating and generating wealth in different ways for you. And if you want us to help you, we would love to do so. Please click on that link below so that we can help you get organized.
Now, the second thing we did is we organized our spending by priority. Savings is a priority. It has to be a necessity for you first and foremost. And then that's when you have your needs, which is your house and your transportation and food. Yes, I said prioritize savings over your house, over your food, and over your transportation. Sounds crazy, but we have to do this. We have to set goals for ourselves so that we can have something to show for all the hard work that we've done to even be able to afford the house and the transportation and the groceries. The last thing is the wants. Wants is on the bottom because this is where we have the potential to create cash flow, because we have the ability to make a decision, a split decision, to say, okay, do I want these sneakers? Do I want this new outfit? Do I want this specific vacation? These are the ones that we can maybe do some thinking about prior to, because maybe we don't need it. And this is the opportunity for us to create that cash flow so that we can save some of that money instead of spending it on something that we're going to get be happy for a second. What we want to do is we want to use this money so it can work for us instead of us continuing to work for it. So that's why we take our wants, create cash flow from our wants to put it back into our savings.
It's about the emotional gratification that you get from things, right? So going back to what you're talking about as far as prioritizing savings first, this also may seem like, a little shocking. And the reason being for me, I'm speaking for myself, is savings was something that I never necessarily prioritized because I was like, oh, I'll always have money. It's no big deal. But it wasn't until we started focusing on savings and changed our mindset from, money will always be there, or I could just charge it on my card, or whatever the case may be, was recognizing, like exactly what Darius just said, was if I have to get up and go to work every day, I should be able to put some money aside for me because I'm the one who's making this work. And if I don't go to work, the house doesn't get paid, the water shuts off, the gas shuts off, I can't get in my car, things of that nature. So once we really started to just respect ourselves and our efforts, we consider that the savings bucket, and everything else just trickled from there. And I can't say enough how once you start incorporating this mindset, just how much more empowerment you'll feel, because as opportunities come up, you have the money available for you to, spend. So again, going back to that organization is savings, needs, and then your wants. And like Darius said, as you start to prioritize your wants and recognize that some of these things really aren't serving me, I'm just spending money to spend it because I'm a consumer, then you'll probably start taking some of those funds that might have been wasted and start reallocating those funds to make your money make money. So there's a formula to this.
Right. Now, I want to go back to the fact that I said prioritize your savings over your needs, your house, and your transportation, because some people are going to think that I'm saying, okay, so I shouldn't pay my mortgage. No, what I'm saying is your mortgage may be too much. It may be more than your income should allow for it. Your mortgage should be about 25% of your monthly take home. That's how much rent. Your mortgage should be. Now, if it's more than that, you're not going to have as much money to not only take care of your wants, but you're not going to have as much money to create cash flow. That means you're overspending in your in your house.
Yeah, you're overextending yourself.
You're overextending yourself if it's 25% more. Yeah.
I'm glad that you made that point, because a lot of people are watching this video and going, Carmen and Darius, I don't even have any money left over at the end of the month. How in the world can I start savings? And that's why we said definitely click on the link below so that we can help you, so we can help you get organized and making sure that your allocations are where they need to be. Because we also didn't understand this. We said, okay, we make X amount of money a month, spend it all, right? But then not realizing that maybe our house was too expensive, or our cars were too expensive, or whatever the case may be. We're spending too much money in groceries. Once we kind of had a blueprint to say, okay, X amount of my income should go to this bucket, and so on and so forth. Again, that empowerment came in place, because if we didn't tell our money what to do and make our money have a job, then our money would just be telling us where it went.
Right.
And we never felt good at the end of the month when that happened.
Right. So a good rule of thumb when it comes to your needs, it should be 50% of your income. Your groceries, your transportation, and your mortgage or rent, those are the things that you need. That should only be 50% of your income. 30% should go towards your wants, the things that you want to do to make you feel good about yourself, the outfits, the name brand clothes. We're not saying not to do all that stuff, but we're also saying to prioritize about 20% of your income for savings first, and then do the rest of it. Because your savings is going to be what saves you. That's why they call it savings. It's going to be what saves you. It's going to be what allows you to build wealth, so that you don't have to work as hard as you do for the other two categories. Now, we talked a little bit about the cash flow that you create from your wants, but that cash flow goes back into savings. Regardless if you're already putting 20% of your income into your priority number one, which is savings, if you have more income and your needs doesn't change, that's even more of a percentage of your income that can go into savings. So don't just limit yourself to the 20% because of what we're going to be doing with our savings as we move forward in this blueprint.
And we've talked about this before, the 20, 50, 30 rule. 20% goes to savings, 50% of your income goes to your needs, and 30% go to your wants. And the whole idea behind this is, again, going back to that getting organized. So by no means are we saying this is the end all be all of building wealth. This is just the starting gate, right? This is all about getting organized, because once we have a handle on our spendings, then we can, take it to the next level and do some more creative things.
Yeah, the starting point is when you actually have money to invest. That's the start.
You said a mouthful.
So let's think about the purpose of saving, which is number 4. The purpose of savings is your opportunity fund, is for large purchases, and then it's for your investments. Think of it as one of those, what do you call it when you have the glasses and then you pour the glass into one and it overflows in the other,
I don't know
the
what
other
it's called,
buckets?
but you get the visual.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
And that's basically what we want to do with our savings. The first thing we have is an opportunity fund. So save a minimum of about 6 months of your needs, so that if things were to change in your income, or you to get the big idea to change directions, you have 6 months of your needs that's not going to be affected because you have that money in your savings. The next thing is your large purchases. There's things that come up where you have to buy a new refrigerator, or you may want to buy a new refrigerator. You don't want to tap into your opportunity fund, or your have to get credit and pay more than what it's worth for these large purchases. You want to have a set amount for those things, so you don't have to tap into any of your cash. And then the next thing is going to be your investing. Investing is the thing that's going to allow you to build wealth. It's going to be one of those things that allow you to invest in the stock market, invest in real estate, invest in something that you prioritize based on this journey to get to this point.
And I'm glad Darius brought up the investing piece of things, because again, it's not until you get organized where you understand you have wiggle room so that you can now start investing and creating cash flow. And the idea, or one thing that you made a point about where you were talking about your opportunity fund, that's also known as your savings or your emergency fund. Many of you have heard that. It's not a new term. We're just trying to put a different spin on it. And the reason being is because if you're always thinking that an emergency is going to come, we don't want to manifest any of that our way. We just want to know that if opportunities arise, an opportunity to get a new set of tires, an opportunity to pay whatever the case may be, we have the money available. And then again, the opportunity fund is what is going to also help us jumpstart our opportunity to create more cash flow.
Right. Now, as far as the fifth point is the fact that once you once you saved up about 6 months of your needs, move on to the next thing, move on to your large purchases. And the average cost of a large purchase is about $1,400. So we say set aside about $2,000 for that so that you can move on to the sixth step, which is investing. Now, again, I say this is based on your journey because there's so many different ways of making money. There's so many different ways of creating opportunities for other people through your expertise that I'm not just going to limit it to one thing. So that's why it's really important for us to really understand our habits, because our habits are a reflection of what we spend money on. And if we spend money on sneakers all day, every day, we might need to start selling sneakers. You see what I'm saying? That's how you can identify. That's why this process is so important, is because you are able to see what your habits are. And I guarantee you're not alone in the habits that you have, that you can create opportunity for yourself and for other people.
Absolutely. And again, going back to this whole point is we got to clean our house first, because it's not until we have the 6 months of savings, we have our spending in place, where we can then look at the opportunities that we have to then start investing. And then investing can be whatever it is that you decide that you want it to be. And the other thing too is to note, just having your ducks in a row will allow you to have the freedom that you need to then invest, because you can't invest if you don't have money in savings, because if something comes up, what are you going to do when you have to pay for those savings? What are you going to do if you don't have money allocated properly and you need to invest? So the idea is, again, making sure that you have a clean slate so that when you invest, you don't have to tap back into your housing bucket and anything is affected in that way. So again, we call this the Wealth Nation way. A lot of people talk about it being the 50-30-20 rule. And the reason why we're not necessarily coining it that is because we recognize that things are going to change. Your allocations are going to change. For us, it's no longer the 50-30-20 rule for us personally, because we've changed our ratios to fit our specific lifestyle. So we want to make sure that we continue to educate you all so that you can comprehend exactly what it is that you need to do in order to start moving forward so that you can start creating that cash flow. And we feel that there's just a lot of misconceptions out there as far as like, go get money, go build cash, do all these things. And you might have a ton of money that you're sitting on, but what good does it do if you're sitting on a ton of money and you have no idea how to organize it, how to spend it, or maybe it's spent and now you have no idea what you're going to do. So that's why we have to come back to this understanding, this formula, so that you can get off to the races.
Right. Now, just to recap, our 6-step blueprint to build wealth is first, organize your spending into savings, needs, and wants. And this is where you identify, okay, what percentage of my income am I actually putting right now into savings? What am I putting into my needs, and what am I putting into my wants? The second thing is you make sure you prioritize the income that you do have coming in, and make sure you prioritize, number one, your savings. The second thing is going to be your needs. And then the last thing is going to be your wants, where this is your opportunity to create cash flow. You may have some things that you're spending money on that isn't serving you. That is an opportunity for you to put that back up to your first priority. That's exactly the thing you should be doing in your third step, creating cash flow. And that cash flow goes back to your savings because it's priority number one. Number 4 is understanding the purpose of savings. Your savings is broken down into 3 categories. It's your opportunity fund, your large purchases, and your investing. This is what we're trying to get to build wealth, which is our investments. So save a minimum of 6 months of your needs. You know exactly what that is because you have your finances organized at this point. The fifth thing is put aside about $2,000 for large purchases because the average cost of a large purchase that we weren't expecting is about $1,400. Save up more in this category if you feel it's necessary, but at least have $2,000 in your large purchases. Number 6 is invest in what you know. Based on your journey and the what you spend your money on, invest in what you know. This is very, very, very important.
And the idea behind this to invest in what you know is you're not getting in a different line at the back of the line to try to understand whatever it is that you think you might be interested in. You're already interested in certain things. So go ahead and start looking at opportunities to capitalize on those because that's already your interest as it is. So if you want to know how to continue to create cash flow, we recommend that you check out our next video so that you can continue to empower yourself in your financial journey.
Remember to own your own lifestyle,
or someone else will.